And welcome back everyone. And now it's time for my last game from Montreal Open. As I told you, I'm playing black, and my opponent is Maurice Richer with FIDE rating 1859. Not that high, but still, since he's playing white, he can pose a threat. And I studied some of his games, and he plays every opening. He plays e4 and then c3. So I decided that if I can't avoid that scheme, it's better to come to it with French. So e4, e6, d4, d5, standard stage, and he plays e5, and here c5, c3. So that's the exact scheme that he plays. I play knight c6, knight f3, queen b6, and he plays a3, trying to push from the queen side, but I just close it, and now his b2 pawn is a bit weak. He plays knight d2, I play knight a5, it's a small battle for b3 square, rook b1, I develop my light square bishop, and here he makes an interesting move. Usually here white just develops with bishop e2 or g3 and bishop a3, and he plays b4, attacking my knight. No, it not that I can do much, I have to take en passant. He takes with the knight, bishop a4, and here white can maintain a bit of advantage. He's playing knight f d2, after rook c8, queen c2, and then queen transfers to b2 with the threat of taking on a5, and here the position is slightly better for white. But he decided to go for an interesting variation because, as he told me after the game, he didn't study this opening properly, and he was afraid that I might calculate better than him, so he decided to simplify by sacrificing an exchange. He took on a5. Well, obviously not much I can do except for take on the queen, because if I take on a5, it's just queen d3, and after b6, bishop d2 with the threat of c4, and it's not that comfortable for black. And also taking on b1 is a complete mistake. After queen a4, black is lost. So I have to take on d1, he takes on b6, he takes b6. Now both knights are under attack, but he finds a nice check bishop b5. And this position occurred 4 times in a game of Grandmasters games, and all of them played king e7, and there were 4 draws. After a4, black plays f6. If you take on f3, then it's just take and take on f8 with counterplay. So it's better to play f6, and after taking on d1, you take on a5, and black is up an exchange, but white has a lot of compensation because they blockade the queen side of the black, and they have some counterplay in the center. So, but instead of that, I played king d8 because this position never occurred in my game before. I just couldn't choose. So after knight takes b7 check, here it was maybe a little better to go king c8, attacking the knight, but here he just takes the bishop, I take the knight, it is an equal position. So I played king c7 with the same idea, but now he has knight d6, attacking the f7 pawn, and I can't take on d6 because he will take with check, so I have to take on f3. He takes on f7, I take on a3, attacking the bishop, and after the exchange, he should have gone king d2, protecting the pawn, and after bishop h5, he takes on h8, and we reach a completely equal position. But instead, he castled. It's a natural move, but here I play bishop h5 attacking the knight, he takes the rook, and here I had a very strong move, rook b3, attacking the bishop, and if he goes to a4, then I take the pawn, and the a file is blocked. He can't quickly play rook a1 and infiltrate on 7th or 8th rank. Or if he plays bishop d3 attacking the pawn, I just exchange these pawns by taking on c3, and after bishop h7, I simply move my knight to e7, and my pieces are really better placed. His pieces are stuck on the king side. I have a passed b pawn, and also his d4 pawn is very weak, so here I have a lot of advantage. But I missed this chance. I play king knight h6. I want to trap the knight, but I miss his very strong reaction f3 with an idea of g4. And the best move for me was to play rook a8 attacking the knight, but I didn't like g4, bishop a8, and then bishop comes back to d3. I play g6, but here I cannot win his knight, so I didn't like this position, and I decided to make another move. I decided to play king d8, and after g4 go for bishop 8 and then trap the knight with my king, but I completely missed his strong reaction bishop d3 attacking the pawn, and I have to take on c3, he takes on h7, but here my pieces are really badly placed. My knight on h6 is not an active piece, and my b pawn is not that strong here. But luckily for me, he also missed this move. He played g4 as he intentionally thought. I played bishop e8, and after the exchange of bishops, he played rook b1. Here I still cannot understand that his knight is not trapped. I play rook a6 protecting the pawn. But after g5, I understood that his knight is coming loose, so I have to play knight f5 and g6. And here I didn't like the move h6 because of king knight f7, and he is also threatening in some variations to play king d6, knight d6. After the game, he thought that I could play knight h4. He showed me this variation, but I found the solution for white. He takes on h7, knight f3, king f2 attacking the knight, and after knight g5, he threatens to take on h7, but I found a really beautiful move for white. It's rook g1, pinning the knight to the pawn, and it looks like white is blundering a fork, but it's a mistake for black to play this, because after king e3, not letting any checks, because if king goes to g3, attacking the knight, this knight just comes back to g5, and black is like correcting his mistake. But after king e3, black has nothing more than just to take the rook, but now knight g6, and suddenly white just queens his pawn. So black cannot go knight h3. After rook g1, they have to go take the pawn. But here rook g7, and white is a pawn up. His knight is just coming back. His rook is very active, and he has an h pawn that is a passed pawn. So that's why I didn't like all these variations. So I took on g6. After knight g6, I found the move rook a3 attacking the pawn. Here he had two options: either go to knight f4 or rook takes b6. If he would take on b6, then I had rook takes c3 attacking the f3 pawn. And if he takes on e6 with check, I play king f7 double attack. He has knight f4, but now I take on d4. After rook d6, I take on f3, and the next move I take on e5. And it's a completely drawn position because he just takes on d5, and it's equal material. So he tried his last chance by playing knight f4, attacking the pawn, and after taking on c3, he took on e6 with the idea of taking on b6 and not letting me to take on d4. But after a very accurate move, rook c6, we agreed to a draw, because now white knight has to go. For example, if he goes to f4, I take on d4, and here white can make a small trap, play knight d5, and it's not good for black to take on f3, because after king g2, black has nothing better than to go to d4 and lose the pawn on b6, and now again I'm pawn down, because if I take on e5 instead of going back, I just lose immediately because of rook e1, and the only move to save my knight is to go rook e6, but now it's just a fork knight c7, and white wins. So instead of taking on f3 at once, I have to play rook c5 first, attacking the knight and the pawn. And after he takes on b6, now knight f3 check and knight e5, and it's a completely drawn position. Let's return a little back. After knight takes e6, it's not good for me to take on f3, because yes, he takes on b6, and now he has a completely better position, because he's threatening to go knight c7, knight d5. His d4 is protected, and his rook is very active, his knight is very active. My pieces are not that well placed. So that's why I played rook c6 and offered a draw, which he agreed on after thinking for some time. So that's how the tournament ended. And yes, and that's how the tournament ended. And so I scored a total of 4 out of 7, and I ended up being number 26 out of 76 participants. So that's, I think, it's very nice. I'm in top 30% of the players. So yeah, I pretty much like this tournament, and hope you did as well. So goodbye.